Student loans in the US were actually brought to us by the Cold War. As part of the National Defense Education Act of 1958, the federal government decided to loan out some money to help more students go to college and get really good at math and science and foreign languages so we could be cooler and smarter than the Soviets. Nuclear undertones aside, it was a cool idea. The point of student loans from the government is that they're more accessible for students than borrowing from the bank and safer than like the loan shark at the bar. The interest is usually low and sometimes it's even subsidized or some of it gets forgiven. But those kind of safety valves cost money, and the funding for the National Defense Student Loan Program dried up by 1963. It got replaced pretty quickly by our boy LBJ's Higher Education Act in 1965, but his guaranteed student loan program worked a little differently. Instead of the federal government loaning money out of its own budget, it guaranteed and subsidized loans that students got from third-party lenders, which is basically the government saying, hey, the bank, lend this 18-year-old some money to go to college, and if they fail to pay you back, we will pay you back and handle it ourselves. And this is not the worst idea. It solves some of the budgetary concerns of doing loans right from the federal government, and hypothetically it would make third-party lenders more willing to lend to students with reasonable interest rates and stuff. But it was practically kind of hard to convince lenders to do this, so the government ended up going through tons of convoluted iterations of this thing. In the 70s, they created the Student Loan Marketing Association, Sallie Mae, to be the third-party lender for a lot of those loans. And another big problem with both those loan programs, the Cold War one and LBJ's new one, is that they turned tons of people away. The GSL had income limits for borrowers, so tons of people made too much money to get loans, but still not enough to go to college. But the GSL program was rebranded to the Stafford Loan Program in '88, and then the whole thing got renamed the Federal Family Education Loan Program in '92. And that amendment to the HEA introduced unsubsidized loans, which anybody could take out regardless of their income. And then in '93, the Student Loan Reform Act created a whole new thing, the Direct Loan Program, where student loans would come, again, directly from the federal government without Sallie Mae in the middle. So as of right now, in early 2025, all federal student loans are those direct loans, and they basically come in three types. Subsidized, where the government pays your interest as long as you're still in school, but there's all kinds of limits about how much you can borrow. Unsubsidized, where there's fewer limits, but you pay your own interest from the get-go. And plus loans, which basically cover whatever is left. So are we better off now? I don't know. I'm over 60 grand in debt and I only have a bachelor's degree. So if you can beat that, let me know.